Trade Secrets is brought to you by Reuter Ware, business attorneys for business success, and by the Judd S. Alexander Foundation, supporting quality of life and economic development in Marathon County.
Hi, I'm Stuart Etten, president of Reuter Ware Law Firm. Without businesses, communities would not thrive. And without communities, businesses wouldn't, have a place to do business. At Reuter Ware Law Firm, we've been providing counsel to Wisconsin business leaders and been a big part of our community for generations. So you could say we know a little bit about what it takes for the two to work together. That's why we're honored to present Trade Secrets here on Wisconsin Eye. It's a new series that shares candid conversations between successful Wisconsin business leaders and lets you, the audience, in on what it takes to cultivate both business and community in our great state. From Reuter Ware, thanks for watching and enjoy the show.
One CEO travels to a company to meet another CEO and gets a tour. They talk business, challenges, share stories. Then the host CEO travels to another company, meets the new CEO, gets the tour. They talk business, challenges, share stories. Then we do it all over again. You get the picture. A chain of CEOs traveling around the state, meeting each other, talking business, sharing stories. That's Trade Secrets, CEO to CEO.
I'm Jim Kotek, CEO of Menasha Corporation, and today's host of Trade Secrets, a Wisconsin Eye series that pairs CEOs to have candid conversations about what it takes to run successful businesses in Wisconsin. This is stock in the last episode, I gave a tour of my company, Menasha Corporation, which is a manufacturer of consumer and industrial corrugated and plastic packaging. I provided the tour to Rich Musin of Badger Meter. Today, I'm in Schofield, Wisconsin, at the Greenheck Fan Company to meet with CEO Jim McIntyre. Let's go in and meet Jim. But before we do, let's take a look at the background of Greenheck.
Have you ever wondered what all those aluminum and metal boxes and domes are on top of commercial buildings? They're the ventilation products that control and condition the air in and air out of buildings to maintain a quality environment that most everyone takes for granted. And one of the leaders in providing that equipment is the Greenheck Group, whose headquarters is located in the central part of Wisconsin at Schofield, Wisconsin. In 1947, Bob and Bernie Greenheck started their fan company here with 3 employees and centered their business around building box fans and rotary turbines for commercial use. In this post-World War II period, they spent their first decade finding their place in the commercial building marketplace. From then on, the story of Greenheck has always been strong and steady growth. Through the expansion of their product lines, by adding gravity intake hoods and power ventilators, they were able to enter the 70s with 100 employees and $3.6 million in sales. And then, with a concentrated effort in the early 70s, on increased product lines and attracting a national network of sales representatives, business took off. By 1978, employees had grown by 2.5 times, from 100 to 250, and sales by a multiple of 6 to $20 million. The 80s, 90s, and 2000s brought the same kind of growth, adding product lines, opening new manufacturing facilities around the world, and expanding sales. Today, Greenheck employs over 2,800 people and has sales nearing $650 million a year. Additionally, Greenheck now has 6 manufacturing campuses in the United States, complemented by 3 plants in Mexico, China, and India, with distribution facilities around the U.S. and in their international locations. Today, the Greenheck Group is positioned for the future as the premier provider of integrated air movement and control systems, with product lines that now include fans, energy recovery, packaged ventilation, makeup air, kitchen ventilation, lab exhausts, dampers, louvers, as well as heating and cooling coils. They are often specified as the provider for total ventilation systems in commercial, institutional, and industrial facilities, for example, schools and universities, warehouses, office buildings, hospitals, and restaurants. From 1947 to 2013, Greenheck morphed into the Greenheck Group with the mantra of being the easiest company to do business with, based upon the two principles that Bob and Bernie espoused in the beginning: provide quality products at competitive prices and give customers the quality and service they deserve.
Hi Jim, how are you?
I'm great.
Excellent.
Glad to be here, and it was a nice easy drive up today, and here to learn a little bit about Greenheck.
Well, great. Thank you for driving up from Menasha Corporation. We really appreciate the partnership that we have together, and this is an opportunity perhaps that I can share a little bit of the Greenheck story and show you some of the products that we have in our product display center.
Absolutely. And I know Greenheck has a long history, and I am interested in learning about it and seeing and learning about your products. So thank you.
Well, let's go back to the product center.
Fantastic. Thank you.
So Jim, here we are with some of our fan and ventilator products. Bernie and Bob Greenheck founded this company together, and the complementary skills and attributes that they brought to the table back in 1947 exist in the company today. For example, Bernie was the brother who was out in the field developing the relationships with our mechanical reps, and his real focus was, I want to make their lives easy to do business with us. I want to be the easiest company that they do business with. And today that is part of our DNA. It's one of the foundational values that we have in the organization.
Yeah, you want to give that customer confidence that they know what they're getting, ultimately how to maintain it. And so that's part of the whole proposition that you're offering them, the product, but all of the knowledge around that product. So.
From a manufacturing standpoint, in our marketplace, we have a much broader product offering, which is why we really ask them to come back here and be trained on these so they understand that. But we think at the end of the day, that's an easier model for them to work with when they can go to one manufacturer that can supply their needs versus having to go to 3 or 4.
I can't imagine the number of products you must have ultimately in a catalog. I mean, it's not dozens or even hundreds. It's thousands.
It is. The configuration of these products is immense. Again, colors, size, motor configuration, sidewall fan, rooftop fan. Again, it's immense, and we are very fortunate to have built these product offerings over decades long, and we've got tremendous engineers that continually look to improve these products. Every day and every week and every month they're trying to find a way to improve the fan efficiency, the sound, and the value.
Well, I'd be very interested in seeing what goes on out on the manufacturing floor and how this all comes together to make the end product.
Well, that's a great idea. Why don't we go out to our fan and ventilator system, and I'll show you how we punch that, we cut it, we configure it, we form it, and then assemble it out and send it on to the customer.
Fantastic. Love to.
Okay. So Jim, this is our automated blanking system. This is where we have our material coming in here in these towers, automatically loads into this equipment. The IBS is what we call it. We both punch the material, then bring it down into the laser that cuts the material. So this is a highly automated process, and how we work with the vendor on the machine to work through that process, as you can see. So this is really a critical component part of how we deliver our product to the end customer. We'll do about 3 tons of material on this per shift. And this also puts in on each part a key code that'll be important when we move to the next station in the processing of this product. We need some of our best, most tenured employees working on these pieces of equipment. The automation continues to upgrade, and we need to upgrade our talent along with that. So we're in fact putting in a new piece of equipment as we speak, just out on the other side of the plant, and that's a faster piece of equipment. So we need to bring our skilled labor up to the level of the automation. we are continuing to invest in this automation and technology in the organization.
It's an investment in capital, but I suspect even more so it's an investment in people. You know, it's the people talents that are as much as anything making this happen.
Yeah, the people. Without the people, we cannot make this product out the door. So the people element is so critically important to how we do this. You know, and again, not only in operating the equipment, but putting the various pieces of equipment together so it works in a seamless process out the door. One of our products here is a configured-to-order product. What happens is when our customers order a product today, we can actually get that product if they need it out the door tomorrow. Wow. And that is, we don't stock the product, it's what we call configure-to-order. Configure-to-order means it can come in a variety of sizes. There's different motors that go with that, so when they put that order in...
You do the assembly of the components to get the correct end product, the configure to order.
You bet. Yeah. So it'll cut it, it'll punch it here, and you'll see later on how we bring that together on the assembly element. Yes.
Obviously, a big part of your cost is the raw material. And I suspect, similar to our business, where we have corrugated paper products and we have plastic packaging products, cost of steel finds itself going up and down, and it's got to be a big driver in your business.
Part of this technology is maximizing the use of that material. So on a piece of sheet metal, we might cut various parts that go into different end products. And again, part of the automatic forming system that we'll see later on will identify those parts and put them together. So we're maximizing the material. There is a waste. There's about 25% waste on the sheet metal that goes into the recycling process, but we're constantly looking at how we can maximize that material.
Absolutely. No different than in our business.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So Jim, we just left the IBS center and now we're at the automated forming system.
Okay.
And I mentioned over there that we had identification numbers on each one of the parts. In this machine, the automatic forming machine will identify that part and it brings it through and it's going to form it here. So we're going to do the bending of the sheet metal in this process. I mentioned at the other end that we could do about 3 tons in the IBS per shift. We can do about 4 tons of material in this, so we can handle a lot more throughput. At the front of this machine, they'll get a cart worth 10 different product units. And that identification number, when it comes through here and forms it, at the end of this forming system, it'll go into a nest so that each part on that end product is in the right nest. So it'll identify it, it'll form it, and it'll bring it down to the cart that it's appropriately supposed to be at to go down to assembly. So we've just done the punching, the cutting, and now the forming, and then preparing it for the assembly process.
You can run a lot size as small as 1, right? It's reading that code. It's reading each one individually. In fact, as I saw a couple different items come off the piece of equipment already.
So again, as we're doing the various configurations of that model, these systems have to work together to allow us to bring that product through in a very efficient manner. So between the IBS and the automatic forming system here, nesting it in assembly allows us to get that throughput so if you get an order in today by 11 o'clock, it can be out tomorrow by 11 if the customer needs that.
Yeah, Jim, the other thing that strikes my eye as we've gone from our first stop over to here, conveyors, automation, obviously that creates a certain efficiency, but I imagine safety is a big consideration too. And I imagine this allows you to run a very safe operation, having the automation.
Absolutely. The automated material handling is critical. One of the biggest risks that our employees run into is material handling. Yeah. This is heavy sheet metal that we're dealing with. And it can cut and it can hurt the back. So the more that we can automate that material handling, the safer it is for our employees. So it's not only more efficient, it's safer, and the quality of this equipment then too. Each shift, what we do is that shift supervisor sends that output outlining the productivity, the quality of that product, and it goes to a supervisor that is able to oversee that process to make sure that all of that is in order.
You know, it's interesting. You know, sometimes people, when they think about automation, they think about reducing costs, and while there's certainly truth to that, there are other big elements, as you're pointing out. It's safer for the workforce. It creates a consistent, high-quality product for the customer. So it's a lot of wins.
And the talent that we need to operate these machines is significant. So we have very experienced people that want to learn new processes. So it's I feel it's a much more talented workforce that we have today than it was. The demands on them are much higher today than they were before.
Okay, Jim, I can't help but notice that as the finished assembled product is completed, it's placed into a corrugated box. And I'm very excited and very pleased that those corrugated boxes are manufactured by Menasha Corporation.
Absolutely, Jim. Menasha is a tremendously valuable supplier to Greenheck. As you can imagine, we make, as you've seen, we make different configured products, different sizes, different motors, and it's not in stock, so we can't tell you 24 hours ahead of time how many boxes we'll need and what size configuration. So we need a supplier that is as flexible as we are and can deliver on our needs as well as we're delivering to our customers. So Menasha has done a fantastic job of delivering the type of product that we need for packaging to get to our end customers.
And we're providing product to you, not just a couple deliveries a week, but it can be a couple deliveries every day of the week.
The variability of what you need to supply changes by the volume that we are actually assembling and producing and sending out the door. Having that adaptability and that flexibility is crucial, and it's one thing that we need to, our employees need to work together, and I know they do a very good job of doing that.
And I'm pleased to hear that we're meeting your needs today.
You are. You're doing a great job. You and your team are doing a great job of supplying our needs. We're very happy for the relationship. So now that you've seen the business being put together and packaged, why don't we go over to our paint line? We'll show you some of our product needs to be painted and welded. So we're going to stop off first at the welding bay to show you the welding facility, and then we'll move over to see the painting of that equipment.
All right, very good.
So Jim, we left our fan and vent business and we came over here to see some of our larger fans. These obviously are not as quick delivery as we talked about over there. Those were more configured to order products. These are more engineered to order products, so there's a lot more weld involved with these. These products will end up in larger buildings. Much of this will end up in institutional type buildings. So we ship from here all over the world from this facility on these products. Those customers need high quality products, and they need it at a certain time. As you can imagine, these are going into buildings that are under construction, so they need to be delivered at the right time. But we need very talented people here, welders that understand the concept and where these products are going to fulfill the customer's needs.
What kinds of facilities would these kinds of products go into?
This type of fan could go into a laboratory where there's some chemicals that they want to exhaust out of the building. So they're exhausting that air, that polluted air from that laboratory out of the building.
Can you tell me a little bit about the development of people?
We have a great relationship with the technical schools here in North Central Wisconsin. We have a very close relationship, and they have a weld training program there. We will hire those individuals, and then they'll do some additional training here. If they want to be a welder for us, they take some voluntary classes, generally about 30 hours of time. If they want that, and then they're hired into the weld training facility, we have another 40 hours of training that they have to go through. Each facility is slightly different depending on the product that's using there. So yes, very experienced staff, but need new individuals, and we have a good relationship with the technical school. The other thing, as we expand domestically, one of the criteria that we look at is, does that area have a technical school to supply these type of talented people? In North Carolina we do, in California we do. So when we're looking at locations, that's a very critical part of our search process.
I suspect you're working very closely with the technical college to develop the right curriculum very much to meet your needs, or is it meeting the needs of a broader array of companies?
We work with other manufacturers in the area related to the welding curriculum collectively. So there are a number of companies here in north central Wisconsin that have the same needs that we have.
And are the people that are in these critical technical roles local to the area, or did they relocate for the opportunity here?
Many of these individuals are from the local area, and they've, as I mentioned earlier, working for us for many, many years. So we're very fortunate to have a resource pool here in the Schofield, Wausau area. And we, in every area that we work in, we want to be the preferred employer. So we want people to come to work for Greenheck. Once they're here, they generally stay here and work their careers through the Greenheck organization.
Fabulous, fabulous.
Now, Jim, I think after we've seen the welding, as you can imagine, most of our products are on the outside of buildings, particularly these large. So some of these products end up being painted. I'd like to have you come over with me and I'll show you the paint line now. So Jim, we saw the welding part outside this paint booth. This is one of the paint booths that we have. You can see the gentleman behind here in a very safe and work environment, painting this. We'll run 3 shifts a day here. Again, the customer through our representative will order the color paint, the type of paint for the environment that our end product is going to go into. So that's how this comes in here. So we're not identifying what color, it's the customer that's identifying that. Very configurable.
Jim, one of the things that I noticed as I was watching the workers do the painting is the excess paint, and it goes off into the air. Where does that go?
This is a very sophisticated system. A lot of that overspray gets recirculated. Almost all of it gets recirculated, and that doesn't get recirculated to put on on another piece of product gets into the vacuum, just like a vacuum cleaner at home. Okay. So it's very safe for the environment. We want a very safe work environment for our employees, and everything we do, and this whole process, whether it's hanging the parts that it's got the right balance on it, or the working conditions in here, or for the environment. Safety is job number one in a whole organization, but particularly important here.
Absolutely. In fact, one of the things that I notice as I look around the paint room here is the ventilation systems. Again, no doubt that's part of providing a safe work environment. And of course, this is the business that you're in, so I suspect it's engineers of Greenheck that have designed the right systems to meet the needs of this room.
Greenheck, that's the core of what we do, is a clean, comfortable air system. So we understand the whole process of ventilation. So it is a good example of how we use our products to have clean, comfortable air in a particular environment. And this is at the extreme of that, as you can imagine, the chemicals and the paint booth in here.
It must work well when you're providing a tour to a customer. You're able to show off your products in a live environment and talk to them about. It starts by understanding the spec, the particular needs of the customer, and then designing a solution for them.
Listening to what the customer needs, and then us following through that on the engineering process is so critically important.
Very good, very interesting. So one of the things in our business that we think about is as we grow and expand, we're constantly thinking about being leaders in the space where we play. That might be geographic space, that might be a particular product line or a particular market segment. Do you think about it similarly in your business? Are you after leadership?
Jim, part of the reason that we take these two entities and we break them up into business units is to focus that leadership team on its end customers. Okay. And we challenge that team, those business units, to go after that customer, to identify what they need in that marketplace. So one of the advantages that Greenheck has because of that is we have a very broad product breadth, more so than just about any one of our competitors today. In fact, recently we brought in a new representative for us in a given state, and because of the product breadth that we deliver to that entity, they actually canceled their relationships with 4 other manufacturers. So to us, that allows us to differentiate ourselves. It's easier for them to deal with one manufacturer than 4, so long as our product is high quality and have good value to them.
Sure. Greenheck is special. What makes Greenheck a special business in the eyes of your customers?
So each year we do a survey of our customers on a global basis, and we get a number of those surveys back. And we ask them, how do we stack up with the other manufacturers? And we hear regularly from our customers that we are their number 1 manufacturer. So we drill down and ask them why. And they tell us, you're the easiest company that we do business with. It all comes back to the people. And the secret sauce here is the employees that we have, not only here in Schofield, but around the world, taking care of our customers. And I think it all comes back to the values that Bob and Bernie set forth in 1947.
As you expand, in particular as you expand into another country, how do you bring those values to life?
Yeah, so as we go out to each country, and each part of this country, as we open up new operations, we spend a significant amount of time on the front end of that, talking about those values and bringing those employees here to Schofield to talk about the value statements, to show them the product offerings, and really meet and learn from other employees in this organization.
It's all about the people of the company that makes it a strong company.
Absolutely.
Jim, another question that I wanted to touch on. When we were out on the plant floor, you referenced that you've got a number of employees that have been here for 10 and 20 plus years, and people who are really, really committed to what goes on here at Greenheck. But you've also got a younger group of employees, new employees who are coming into the company, and there'll be more of them in the future. And so the question I wanted to ask you is, as you think about that younger group, and if you were to give them some advice, what do they need to be doing to be successful in this environment? What would you offer up to them?
Well, the first thing I would talk to, a prospective candidate that wants to join our company, or for any person coming out of college, I would really talk to them about joining a company with strong values. Being part of an organization that is really trying to do the right thing for its customer base and its employee base and its community is so very important, in my opinion. Secondly, a strong financial organization that can withstand the periods of time, because times will get tough.
Sure.
Thirdly, to join a company that is broad in its thinking, and my understanding and the prevailing thinking is that when you get out of college, you're going to have multiple different job experiences. I'd be looking at a company like Greenheck Group or a Menasha Corporation as a great company to join, because the way I talk to our new employees about that is you can have all of those careers in a company like ours. We have operations internationally. We have them around the country. They're product, customer-based employment opportunities. They're engineering opportunities. There's just a plethora of opportunities that a company like yours or Greenheck has to offer those employees in a great state. Yeah. So I'd look for, again, companies with strong values, financially strong, that are growing organizations that can give that new candidate multiple opportunities to grow within an organization.
Yeah. Why Wisconsin? You've got customers all over the country, all over the world, but you've put a lot of your growth investment here into Wisconsin, and specifically into Schofield, Wisconsin, which I think is fabulous, by the way. But
yes.
But I wanted to ask, why here?
Well, first of all, this is where we founded the company. But secondly, we have very hard-working employees in this part of the country, and we just love being here.
If you think about your recent upward trajectory, things that have been accomplished, but as you look out the next 3 to 5 years, what do you see as the big challenges that you're going to have to work through?
One of the concerns and challenges is the competition is now global. So we need to stay ahead of that, and we've got an ownership group that's absolutely committed to the legacy of this business. They like being privately owned and controlled, and that's a major strength of ours, competing against a global environment. Next comes our employees who make the magic happen. They deliver on the promises that we make, and our employees step up at every opportunity. Business is complicated at times, but it's also simple. And when that customer calls up and they have a problem, solving that problem on that day for that customer is the most important thing to do. And I am so proud of our employees. Whether it's someone in the office or someone in the production floor, we have people every day stepping up to tackle that challenge that customer has, and that makes a huge difference.
You have a fabulous company here and a lot to be proud of, and so I appreciate you sharing the time with me and sharing just a lot of background on the company with me. So,
well, Jim, thank you very much. And let me tell you, as part of our value statement is that partnership with our suppliers, and Menasha Corporation has been a fantastic partner for our organization. Your team has done an excellent job. We've done work together for many, many years, and I see that happening into our future. So thank you for coming up to visit with me today. Please thank your team for delivering the great service that they provide our team, and we're just so happy to have this relationship.
I appreciate the comments. I will pass them on to the team, and I look forward to a continued long-term relationship.
Okay.
So
Thanks
again, thank
Jim.
you.
Okay,
all right.
Thank you.
Well, that wraps up today's episode of Trade Secrets. I'm Jim Kotek of Menasha Corporation. I've enjoyed being your host today. With the completion of this episode, I have passed the baton on to Jim McIntyre of Greenheck Fans, who will be hosting the next show. Please look for it soon.